we're going to talk about Iran. Okay, this is a hugely undercovered story, and I was thinking about it on my own, and then Matthew Bartlett texted me some stuff. Matthew, amongst other things, besides having deep New Hampshire ruts, you worked in the State Department. Am I right?
Yeah, precisely. Mark was a
Yeah.
Trump State Department appointee, first term.
Yeah. So over the weekend, the president unexpectedly went to Camp David from New Jersey, not back to the White House, but to Camp David. And it was reported, I believe, first by Axios that he went there to have meetings with his national security team, including the vice president and all the other likely suspects, to talk about Iran. And we know that today, put up number 18, please. The U.S. State Department announced that they were withdrawing all diplomats from Iraq. And there's saber rattling coming from Tehran, from the foreign minister, I believe, some senior official in the Iranian government. And there's also a great deal of concern that the talks for a nuclear accord are falling apart. And the president, in a recent interview, expressed pessimism about the prospect of striking this nuclear deal. And of course, as you all know, this also comes amid lots of conversation about the possibility that Israel, after years and years of thinking about it, talking about it, planning for it, will engage in a military strike against Iran. Many people, or experts, say Iran is much closer to a nuclear device than they've ever been. And no president in the last 5 has had any policy but that Iran may not develop a nuclear capability. And I'll add this, although it's been conventional wisdom for a long time that it's impossible really to strike their nuclear capability without causing World War III or nuclear fallout all over the region that would alienate the West and Israel from young Arabs and Palestinians across the region, Muslims across the region. There's some talk that Israel might now have a plan to do this in a way that would minimize the blowback. Don't know what that would be, but there's talk of that. So the reason I wanted Matthew to come on, and the reason I'm leading with this, we'll get to California in a minute, is I got a lot of sources who've been emailing me and texting me for the last 2 days saying, watch this. Some keying off of Camp David, some keying off of other stuff. So I just want to, if you look at the media right now, you'll see there's some talk about the State Department announcement today, some talk about trouble in the talks. Tell people your thoughts on what's going on or what might be going on.
Yeah, like you said, Mark, there's been some breadcrumbs, and then there's been some puzzle pieces. And today grew increasingly interesting and increasingly heightened even in the region. As you said, the entire national security apparatus was in Camp David. There were scant reports, but some said that there was a call to Bibi afterwards. Then you saw President Trump on the New York Post podcast stating that he was losing patience with Iran. And then you go back to, again, reporting that Mark Levine went to the White House for a meeting to encourage a strike against Iran, contrary to what Tucker Carlson had been promoting. Then today, yes, you saw, Matt Lee of the AP, just an incredible reporter, saying that, the talks, that Iran had not responded to the proposals, that the talks this weekend in Oman were off. You saw the Free Beacon actually report that Iran has test-fired a ballistic missile. You mentioned John Hudson of the Washington Post, his reporting that the region is looking to potentially move or evacuate people out of U.S. bases. But the most interesting nugget that I saw today was Tom Cotton's tweet. Pete Hegseth was on the Hill today. His testimony, Tom Cotton's tweet said today, SecDef, Pete Hegseth confirmed that Iran's terrorist regime is actively working towards a nuclear weapon. For the sake of our national security, the security of our allies and millions of civilians in the region, this cannot be allowed to happen. So this all seems to be moving towards a much more potentially, kinetic response. As you said, probably underreported, but it seems as if very heightened. I don't have any special information. I'm no longer at the State Department, but I did speak with some former colleagues who just said that the situation is, quote, getting tight.
Yeah. Matthew, brilliant connection of the dots. And again, most of what you've cited is publicly available, but you've connected it brilliantly. And you and I are both hearing from people. There seems to be something going on. Now, I cannot count on the fingers of both hands the number of times in the last 15 years I've been told by sources Iran is about to explode. This is about to happen. Israel's going to attack or Iran's going to attack. So we're not here to be ahead of the information. We're not here to be alarmist, but we are here to put on your radar that something's happening. And although it's only one of the many things Matthew cited, Donald Trump going from New Jersey, not back to the White House, but to Camp David, it's just not normal behavior for him. There's some reason why they all felt they had to convene at Camp David. So we'll keep tracking it. I'm going to make not a prediction, but I'll tell you it's a possibility. Our conversation right here by the bottom of the hour at the end of the program may yield some source information, may pry loose a little bit more. So stand by for that. Matthew, thank you for joining. Always love having you on. If you hear more, you'll let us know. Grateful to you. Want more great clips like that? I've got an idea. Hit the subscribe button, be part of the Two-Way community, never miss a clip, and you can always watch our full episodes, join them live, go to twoway.tv.